Hi everyone, Marybeth here with eXp Realty with your Monday mortgage and market update. And of course, Chris Magnotta is joining me this week. Chris, so great to see you.
Thanks.
And Chris, you with Guild Mortgage, you're in Steamboat right now. So how's the weather up there? It seems like it's getting pretty gloomy out here in Denver.
I think it's very, very similar. We had such a beautiful weekend and then woke up Monday morning with, oh man, what just changed? So yeah, it's rainy and drizzling cold, but you know, it's still Colorado, so I'm grateful.
Absolutely. And just like you said, it was a beautiful weekend for this past Mother's Day weekend here in Denver. And with that beautiful weather, a lot of buyers were getting out there. I was showing homes this weekend in Littleton, Lakewood, Fairplay, Colorado. So definitely my buyers are getting out there. So speaking of that, and speaking of real estate, so since May 1st, Chris, 456 active units have gone on the market in the city of Denver. But with that said, though, since May 1st, 526 units have gone under contract. So the buyers are really taking advantage of this warmer weather. Not today, but on the weekends we had such nice weather. So, you know, really getting out there and putting homes under contract. Is that surprising to you or?
No, not really. I kind of thought this was going to happen. One of the reasons I felt this coming was I tracked the number of incoming inquiries for people to buy houses. So I track incoming calls, and I also track credit pulls, number of credit reports I pull, as well as pre-approved buyers. So I have all this data that I put together, and the amount of people having their credit checked to buy a house, as well as the number of pre-approvals that we have out there, is as good as we've ever seen. So we have a whole lot of pent-up demand that was waiting for two reasons. One, of course, to be able to actually get into a property. That was one reason, but and certainly two is just the warmer weather. So those two things, we're seeing a tremendous amount of activity. And what you just described, I saw a whole bunch of this weekend. As you know, I have people on call every weekend, and my poor guy who was on call this weekend just got hammered with people putting in offers and new pre-approvals. So
absolutely, because you know, I think so many people are starting to feel that cabin fever and starting to just, you know, take a look around their home and say, you know what, I need something bigger. I need something smaller. Maybe I need 2 home offices instead of 1 home office, something like that. So I think definitely people are getting out there. So speaking of the buyers, you know, like you said, you've seen a lot of pre-approvals come in, a lot of people wanting to get pre-approved for a home loan. If there is a buyer out there who currently is pre-approved or looking to get pre-approved, what has changed because of COVID looking forward for this month of May? Do they need to get pre-approved or what are some things that are happening?
Yeah, great question. And I would say for sure, if your income has been impacted by COVID, you should reach out and have your updated pre-approval, or at least have it refreshed and validated that your income's still good to go. Self-employed folks are probably going to be poked at the most by underwriters, because we are now basically requiring our underwriting staff to go and make sure, hey, this business is functioning. It's functioning as it was before. You know, I have certain people who have lost a certain amount of hours. So maybe they were working 40 hours before and they're working 30 now. Well,
right.
We have to pre-approve people on their new hours. So I'd say for most people, no. But for the people who are impacted by COVID or their industry is impacted by COVID in a negative way, then yeah, that would be a good thing to do.
Absolutely. So just keep that communication line open with your lender there. So for another portion of our market, you know, a lot of people who unfortunately maybe have lost their job or are furloughed, they're looking to do maybe cash out refinances. So now that we're in month 2, I think a lot of people have started taking advantage of either refining their home or thinking about refining their home. What do you advise going forward? You know, moving forward, I think a lot of people are, their money's going to start dwindling. So they might want to take advantage of that. Is that still an option, or what do you think?
Well, good question. It's going to be an option for some people, but not for others, unfortunately. So someone who's already been furloughed or someone who has already had their income dramatically reduced because of a COVID situation, those people are going to have a hard time getting cash out money anywhere. The amount of cash out lenders and banks that do cash outs has been dramatically reduced across the board for everybody. So a lot of the big banks have stopped doing cash out refinances. A lot of lenders have stopped doing cash out refinances. But there still are a group of good lenders out there who still do cash out refinance, but it's still going to be subject to proof that your income hasn't had a big negative impact due to COVID.
Absolutely. So with that said, a lot of buyers, like we talked about, are getting out there. Just so everyone knows, there's still no in-person open houses allowed in the Denver metro area and beyond in many cities. No more open houses still. There's not even a date yet that we can actually institute in-person open houses. Obviously, we can do virtual open houses and virtual showings, but we are now allowed, now that we're on the safer at home order, to do in-person showings. So albeit masks, gloves, etc., social distancing. So that's good. So with that said, I mean, that's a positive light that we are allowed to do showings yet again. So Chris, what is your positive light now? I mean, we're down 2 months into COVID and quarantine.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are just waiting for restaurants to open and waiting for life to get back to normal. But with these 2 months, what have you gotten? Have you picked up a new hobby? Have you done anything fun and learned something new during quarantine?
Yeah, I have. I haven't picked up a new hobby per se, but I have done a lot of fun things. I'm actually probably in the best physical shape of my life. I think, like with anything, when you're put in a hard situation, you end up with two choices. You can let it bring you down, or you can make the choice to like, hey, I'm going to do something great. And I think a lot of people are going to come out of this COVID with better bodies, sharper minds, more well-read, and better connections with their family. I know yesterday you mentioned the restaurant thing. Well, what I did yesterday is we did takeout pizza and we sat and had a picnic down by the river. And it was just a really awesome time to hang out with my wife, who of course is a mother, and our kids, and just had a phenomenal time hanging out by the river, throwing rocks into the stream. So I think there's definitely a glass half full side of it. And that's what I'm going for, because I don't have a choice.
Wonderful. Yes. Just always think positive. Definitely. I think for me, I've definitely, cooked a lot more and baked a lot more. I think it's part of my de-stressing from COVID, because obviously we can't go out to restaurants. So I'm diving into a lot of different recipes and trying a lot of new baking techniques. So that's not helped my waistline, but at the same point, I'm also getting out and getting fresh air every morning, walking 2.5 miles, and hopefully burning some of those baking calories off. So Chris, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or want any information about your mortgage, your home loan, or the real estate market, or taking a look at any homes, our information will be below. Chris, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.